The total repair costs for a car during its first year is uniformly distributed between $0 and $600. Number 1. Graph the probability distribution. Number 1. The question says the total repair costs are uniformly distributed, so the probability distribution is uniform. And the graph of a uniform distribution is just a straight line, so we can draw the axes, and the distribution goes from 0, so we'll put 0 to 600, and it's just a straight line. So straight line right across, and at a height of 1 divided by the width, so 1 over 600. 2. What does P of x less than 500 mean? Well, technically it doesn't mean anything until you know what x is. So presuming that we mean that x is the total repair cost for a car during its first year, then it has some meaning. So this is the total, assuming this is what is meant by x, total repair costs for a car during its first year. That's an equal sign there. So x is total repair cost for a car during its first year. Now that expression has some meaning, because now it means the probability, P per probability, x, the total repair cost for a car during its first year is less than 500. So that's exactly what it means. It's the probability that the total repair cost for a car during its first year is less than $500. And now we can actually calculate that probability based on the probability distribution by shading in an appropriate area on the graph. So we'll make another copy of the graph here. And put on it the area that represents this probability, the probability that x is less than 500. If this is 0 and 600, then let's say that must be 300, 400, 500. So 500 is right here, and the probability that x is less than 500 is exactly the area of this rectangle here. So this rectangle, the area of this rectangle, represents that probability. So the probability is just this area, height times width. So the probability that x is less than 500 is width times height, or height times width. So 1 over 600 times 500, which is the width. So that reduces to 5/6. 500 over 600 is 5/6. Find P of x less than or equal to 0 and discuss its meaning. Well, we can get the probability that the total repair cost for a car during its first year is less than or equal to 0. Well, that's 0. There's no area under the curve less than 0, because the graph of the probability distribution ends right there, or becomes 0 after that fact, or to the left of 0. So the answer to the probability is 0. So the probability x less than or equal to 0 is 0. And what does that mean? That means you can't have the negative costs for your car. Repair costs, that is. So nobody's going to pay you to repair your car. That's what it means.